We begin CBS2 News at 5 o'clock with breaking news. USC President CL Max Nikias has officially stepped down.
CBS2 Suzanne Marquez is live at USC with more information and more on his replacement. Suzanne.
Well, Pat and Jeff, President Max Nikias had said he would step down back in May. Now, about 2 months later, he finally has. This happening after a meeting of USC's board. Now, the board is comprised of 59 very powerful and wealthy members, and they've tapped one of their own as interim president. Wanda Austin is a retired aerospace executive. She's also a USC alumna and former president of the Aerospace Corporation. Board chair Rick Caruso hopes to get a new president officially in place between 4 and 6 months from now. USC has faced a series of scandals under Max Nikias, 3 involving doctors that came to light within the last year. 200 USC professors signed a petition demanding his resignation. And just yesterday, another 12 women filed lawsuits against former USC gynecologist George Tyndall. Hundreds of women have come forward accusing him of sexual misconduct. He worked at USC's Student Health Center on campus for nearly 30 years. Attorneys accuse USC of paying him to quietly resign. USC denies any cover-up, and Tyndall has denied all of the accusations. Now back to the board addressing Max Nikias. He's been given the title of President Emeritus and Life Trustee and will be assisting with the transition of the incoming president. Board President Rick Caruso said in a letter to students, faculty, and alumni that a broad cultural change is needed here at USC. He says those changes would also affect the board, which has been criticized recently for being too large and for handing over too many decisions to Max Nikias. But as we just said, he is out. We have an interim president in place, and hopefully big changes happening at USC, according to the board. Reporting live at USC's campus, I'm Suzanne Marquez. Pat and Jeff, back to you.
Suzanne, thank you so much. Turning now to the forecast for the beach, to the basin, to the IE. It is hot no matter where you are. The Southland in its second day of triple digits as these dangerous conditions blanket the region.
Well, fighting the holy fire, we're going to take a live look now from Sky 2. Firefighters are giving it everything they've got as the brush fire spreads across 2 counties. Making matters worse, it's brutally hot out there.
Now we have team coverage tonight with Nicole Comstock covering the holy fire and Lisa Siegel on the dangerous heat.
But let's begin with CBS2's Garth Kemp with a look at the forecast. Garth.
Yeah, Pat, 90 degrees right now downtown. Good afternoon, everybody. West winds at around 7 miles an hour. Actually, the San Fernando Valley, a couple of degrees cooler today, just due to the fact we started to get this wind kicking up from the south. But we still do have excessive heat warnings that look like they're supposed to come down tonight at 8 o'clock. We're going to keep an eye on those. They might be extended out, though, as you make our way in through tomorrow. Humidity a little lower today than we were yesterday at this time. 34% right now downtown, but the interior areas, we are averaging into the teens, 15, 17, 18% right now. But light winds that are coming out of the west, southwest as well. We'll show you all that coming up in just a little bit. Back to you guys.
See you in a bit, Garth. Well, CBS 2's Nicole Comstock is on fire watch live in Corona, where that holy fire has now spread across 2 counties. Nicole.
This has definitely been an unsettling day for families who live here in Corona, who can look out of their bedroom windows and see these new columns of smoke continue to rise up here, not too far away from their homes, as the holy fire continues to creep into Riverside County. Raging flames continue to torch the Cleveland National Forest Tuesday. As the holy fire burned through the southeast portion of Trabuco Canyon in Orange County, it also jumped the ridgeline into Riverside County. In this time lapse, you can see black smoke swirling a few miles behind homes in Corona.
If it reaches that lower hill right there, then it's probably going to be time to say, yeah, maybe we'll want to leave.
Ash has been raining down on John Gray's car all day. His bags are packed just in case evacuations are ordered. The Forest Service is asking people in the Horse Thief Canyon, Sycamore Creek, and El Carrizo Village neighborhoods to be ready to go at a moment's notice.
You wake up every couple of hours and you look out the bedroom window and you see that glow as it's getting a little bit brighter and brighter. And then after a while you see the flame and you don't sleep real well.
But other neighbors are carrying on with their daily routines.
Last night, of course, we did see flames. but we saw the big planes come in, so I slept like a baby.
It's still in the back of Melody Anton's mind that if the terrain-driven Holy Fire moves farther in this direction,
It has not burned fire in many, many years, so it would be devastating.
they would be relying on a long line of fire retardant to protect their homes, since the flames already damaged some structures on the Orange County side.
So I'm just praying.
Also important to note out here that there are no mandatory evacuation orders in Riverside County right now, just a voluntary evacuation warning for the Highway 74 corridor, which means if you live in the communities of Rancho Capistrano, El Carrizo Village, or Blue Jay, you're just under that voluntary evacuation warning. So if you feel uncomfortable being in the area, it's not a bad idea to, at the very least, have your bags packed just in case. For now, reporting live from Corona, Nicole Comstock, CBS 2 News.
We have more on this fire course. Let's turn to Stu Medell, who is live in Sky 2 above the Holy Fire. Stu?
Jeff, Pat, we just watched the DC-10 just do a long drop along the side that we're looking at right here. Nicole Comstock, she is basically on the other side of the fire, way down there in Corona. We can't see her, probably because of all that smoke. Right there on this side, though, we've been watching the firefight from the air all afternoon. 4,000 acres is burned. That's still the number they've been saying since yesterday. Might be a little bit higher today. 2% containment. We hear 3 firefighters had some heat-related issues and were taken to the hospital. But you've got to think that there's over 300 firefighters battling these flames. Some of them is going to be from the Forest Service, Orange County Fire, and then of course Cal Fire as well. As far as the flames go, there are a couple. Every now and then it pops up. When we got here very early this afternoon, the fire looked like it was laying down, like it was almost out. Then a couple of hours passed and they'd hit some hot spots, and the flames and the smoke really popped up. Right now, though, the firefight definitely continues. 2% containment, and as we've been saying all afternoon, basically now working its way into another county. This fire is huge. Live in Sky 2 over the Trabuco Canyon area. I'm Stu Medell. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks, Stu. Now remember, stay with CBS 2 News for continuing coverage on the Holy Fire and all the fires in California. And for updates anytime, just go to our website, cbsla.com.
Breaking news now in Orange County. Crews have made major progress after a massive fire erupted there inside of an event planning warehouse in Santa Ana. Witnesses say that they heard explosions, but fire crews have yet to confirm the cause. The powerful flames burst through the roof, causing crews to go into a defensive mode and surround the building. Now, firefighters hope to fully stop the fire within a couple more hours. One person was injured, but they are expected to be okay.
Now to developing news. A murder suspect is dead and an FBI agent is wounded after an officer-involved shooting in South LA. And CBS 2's Dave Lopez shows us what happened.
Police say they found their murder suspect, a man in his 70s, in the parking lot of this motel in South LA. They say he committed a murder, shot 2 of his cousins. One of them died a few days ago. Police say the cousins were arguing over some real estate that was in the family.
We know who he is, we know his name, and we also have witnesses.
That's what police said on July 31st. Today they found him. A special gang and narcotics task force from the LAPD, along with one agent from the FBI, got a tip. They wouldn't say where that tip came from, and they said their suspect, the man they were looking for, would be at the motel behind me. When they got there, they saw their suspect in the parking lot of the motel. Police say he had a weapon with him. He pointed it, and that's when officers and the FBI agent opened fire, killing the suspect.
In that officer-involved shooting, the FBI agent was struck by gunfire, and he's been transported to a local hospital.
Police say his wounds are not life-threatening. We are also told that the FBI was involved because they considered this man a fugitive. They had no idea where he might be, and the FBI gets involved whenever, quote, a murder suspect has become a fugitive.
We did have LAPD officers that did fire their service weapons today. I don't know if they were wearing body cams.
If they were wearing body cams, that video will be released to the public within 45 days because of the new regulations instituted by the Police Commission. Detectives did say that the man in his 70s did have a weapon, and that gun, they say, was just a few feet away from where he was laying in the parking lot. From South LA, Dave Lopez, CBS 2 News.
Well, does this shirt look familiar to you? Detectives in Corona say it was wrapped around an infant who was found dead around Cajalco Road near I-15 last month. The shirt has a distinctive pattern that they hope will jog someone's memory. If you can please help out, call the Corona Police Department.
A CSUN student athlete arrested last week was just charged with attacking 3 women. 19-year-old Davis Moreno Jaime came face to face with a judge in a San Bernardino courtroom this afternoon. He faces 1 felony count of forcible rape and false imprisonment by violence and 1 misdemeanor count of sexual battery. CSUN police who arrested Moreno Jaime on campus Friday believe there are more victims out there. His arraignment was delayed until September 13th. His bail is set at $1 million.
Well, the battle over a section of President Trump's border wall just got heated outside of a Pasadena courthouse today. Take a look.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, the border wall has got to go.
Protesters rallied at the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to support the Center for Biological Diversity and the state of California's challenge to start work on the border wall. A judge ruled against the center back in March, but it has appealed. The CBD and the state claim the Trump administration illegally waived dozens of laws to rush construction of the wall and its prototypes.
The borderlands contain approximately 93 different rare and endangered species. That's why it's so important that all of our laws, including environmental laws, are complied with border wall projects.
Well, the border wall project would include 14 miles of new primary and secondary fencing from the Pacific Ocean to Otay Mesa.
The defense went on the attack in Paul Manafort's bank fraud and tax evasion trial against the government's star witness, Rick Gates. Manafort's attorney attacked Gates' credibility a day after he testified that his former boss knowingly committed crimes. Gates admitted to having an apartment in London to facilitate an extramarital affair, but he denied that he used funds embezzled from Manafort for that purpose. Manafort is charged with fraud and tax evasion that started before he and Gates had key roles in President Trump's 2016 campaign. Gates will be back on the stand tomorrow.
Well, the first results are now pouring in from Ohio tonight in a high-stakes congressional race that could determine the November midterm elections. Democrat Danny O'Connor is taking on Republican Troy Balderson in Ohio's 12th district. Now, this has been a GOP stronghold for some 30 years now. President Trump, who campaigned for Balderson on Saturday, won this district handily. But recent polls revealed O'Connor has a real shot at switching this congressional seat to his party. So here are the first results at this hour. With less than 1% of the votes counted, right now O'Connor has a big lead, 62% of the vote so far. Balderson at 36%, but still very early. Of course, we know all those numbers will change. We'll, of course, keep an eye on this throughout the evening here on CBS2. And political coverage continues at 6:30 on the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glore.
Trading of Tesla stock was halted today after CEO Elon Musk tweeted he's considering taking the electric car company private. Musk said he secured funding from a buyer and implied the company would be valued at $420 million or $420 a share, I should say. It would cost roughly $71 billion to take Tesla private at that share price. Tesla stock jumped from $342 a share to $371 after that tweet. And Tesla has spent a lot of cash trying to keep up the production pace of its lowest priced electric car, the Model 3.
Well, speaking of cars, waiting at the DMV is nothing new, but help may be on the way.
Well, the new options being rolled out to cut down on those long lines.
We hope. Plus, a local high school volleyball coach and security officer arrested, charged with having sex with girls on his team. The latest on that investigation.
Also, massive damage at a Colorado zoo after a deadly hailstorm drops ice the size of baseballs.
And the Brady Bunch house destined for a makeover. The new owner and the new plans.